It was a rainy evening when I got the call. My daughter's voice trembled on the other end, barely above a whisper. "Mom, my MIL said you deserved this." I froze. My mind raced. What could she possibly mean? I had always trusted my daughter to make her own choices, and she had recently moved in with her husband's family after the wedding. I thought they would be happy, but clearly something was very wrong. The next day, I went to their home, trying to keep my face calm, pretending nothing had happened. But the moment I stepped inside, my heart sank. My daughter was sitting in the corner, her shoulders slumped, tears silently streaking her cheeks. "Mom, it's horrible," she whispered. And then she started telling me everything: the subtle manipulations, the cutting remarks, the constant criticism. Her mother-in-law had been controlling every aspect of her life, from what she wore to how she spoke, even interfering in her career decisions. I couldn't believe it. My own daughter was being bullied in her new home, and my brother, he had promised to protect her, yet he remained silent. Every time I tried to bring up these issues with him, he brushed them off, but I knew I couldn't ignore this anymore. I asked my daughter to write everything down: the insults, the manipulations, even the tiny details that seemed insignificant at the time. When I read her notes, my blood ran cold. This wasn't just a little tension between in-laws, it was psychological abuse. Every word, every action of her MIL was calculated to hurt and control her. As I sat there, feeling both heartbreak and anger, I made a decision. "We will not let them win. We will fight back smartly," I told her. Her eyes widened with a mixture of fear and hope. I could see the spark of courage returning to her. Little did they know this was only the beginning. That night, as the rain poured outside, I sat awake planning our next move. We needed evidence, a strategy, and the courage to confront the truth. And most importantly, we had to do it in a way that would protect my daughter and ensure justice. The whisper that shook me that evening became our battle cry. This wasn't just about standing up to a cruel mother-in-law, it was about taking control, reclaiming dignity, and proving that no one has the right to hurt those we love. The story is just beginning. Stay tuned to see how we uncover the truth and confront the people who thought they could get away with hurting us. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow this shocking family drama. After that shocking evening, I realized we couldn't fight this blindly. My daughter's MIL had been cunning, controlling, and manipulative for months. To confront her, we needed proof. Solid, undeniable proof. I started secretly collecting everything: messages, call recordings, and even small incidents my daughter had written down. Every cruel comment, every subtle threat, everything that had been ignored for too long. I documented it all. Meanwhile, my brother invited me over casually, acting as if nothing had happened. But I noticed it immediately. He avoided eye contact whenever my daughter's situation was mentioned. It was clear he had been silent either out of fear or loyalty to his wife. I couldn't understand it. How could he stay neutral while my daughter suffered? I decided to confront him privately. "Do you know what your wife has been doing to my daughter?" I asked calmly. His face turned pale and he stammered. I didn't think it was that serious," he muttered. His silence had been enabling her cruelty, and for the first time, I felt a sharp pang of betrayal. I realized we had to be smart. A direct confrontation with the MIL without preparation could backfire. She thrived on chaos and manipulation. She needed to be exposed step by step with undeniable evidence in our hands. My daughter, though terrified, agreed to cooperate. She knew this was the only way to protect herself and finally stand up to her tormentor. By the end of the week, I had a folder filled with evidence: screenshots of nasty texts, recordings of subtle insults, and written accounts of manipulations, all neatly organized. I could see the shock on my daughter's face as she realized how much power we now held. The next step was strategic. We had to confront the MIL and make her face the consequences of her actions. But we couldn't rush. One wrong move could turn this battle into a disaster. Then, an unexpected thought struck me. What if we had an ally within the house? Someone else who had silently witnessed the MIL's cruelty but had been too scared to speak up. I decided to quietly observe the household for a few days, looking for patterns, looking for someone who could support us. As I watched, I began to notice small things: a niece hiding her discomfort, subtle glances of fear, a hesitation before speaking. Maybe we weren't completely alone in this fight after all. Maybe, just maybe, there was someone who could help us tip the scales. And in that moment, a plan began to form in my mind. We wouldn't just confront the MIL, we would outsmart her, expose her, and reclaim peace for my daughter. The war had begun, and this time we would not back down. Things are about to get intense. Next, we'll reveal an unexpected ally who changes everything. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow this shocking family drama. Just when I thought we were standing alone against my daughter's MIL, an unexpected ally appeared. My brother's eldest daughter, my niece. She had quietly observed her mother's cruelty for months and had grown tired of staying silent. One evening, she approached me with a folder of her own. Inside were messages, incidents, and small recordings she had secretly collected. I couldn't believe it. Finally, someone within the household had seen the truth and wanted to help. Together, we compared our notes. The patterns were undeniable. Every manipulation, every attempt to isolate my daughter, every insult, and every calculated move to make her feel small, everything lined up. With two perspectives and double the evidence, our case against the MIL became stronger than ever. I could see my daughter's hope returning. For the first time in months, she felt that someone was on her side, someone who truly understood what she had been going through. We started planning carefully. Every step had to be precise. One wrong word, one misstep, and the MIL could spin the story against us. My niece and daughter worked together to document every incident, adding dates, times, and details to make it impossible to dismiss. They even rehearsed how to present the evidence calmly without letting emotions get the better of them. Meanwhile, I observed my brother closely. He remained hesitant, caught between loyalty to his wife and his sense of justice. I realized he could either become an obstacle or an ally, but for now, the priority was ensuring my daughter had support from someone who truly understood her struggle. The atmosphere in the household became increasingly tense. The MIL, unaware of our preparations, continued her daily manipulations, confident in her control. Little did she know her days of dominance were numbered. Every cruel word she spoke, every subtle attempt to belittle my daughter was being carefully documented. One evening, as I sat with my daughter and niece, I laid out the plan. We can't fight them recklessly, I warned, but together, with evidence and courage, we can expose the truth without risking further harm, and we will win, not just for you, but for anyone who has ever been silenced by someone's cruelty. My daughter nodded, her eyes filled with determination. My niece squeezed her hand, silently promising that she would stand by her side. In that moment, I realized the power of unity. Two voices, combined with truth and courage, were enough to challenge even the most controlling of people. The stage was set, our allies were ready, our evidence undeniable, and the MIL had no idea what was coming. The first confrontation was on the horizon, and it would change everything. The tension is building, reveals the first shocking confrontation that leaves everyone speechless. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to see how the family drama unfolds. The day of the first confrontation arrived, and the tension in the air was almost suffocating. I invited my brother and his wife for what I called a family discussion, making sure my tone remained calm and casual. But inside, my heart was racing. Months of manipulation, silent suffering, and whispered fears had led to this moment. It was time to expose the truth. As we all sat down, I began presenting the evidence step by step. Screenshots of insulting messages, recordings of subtle but cruel remarks, and written accounts of every manipulation were laid out clearly. My daughter and niece spoke in turn, detailing incidents that had been dismissed or ignored for far too long. At first, the MIL tried to laugh it off, waving her hand as if it were just a misunderstanding. "Oh, come on, it's not that serious," she said, her voice dripping with false charm. But my daughter and niece remained composed, presenting the evidence calmly and methodically. Every attempt to deny or twist the truth was met with undeniable proof. I watched my brother squirm, caught in the middle. His silence had enabled the abuse for months, and now the reality was staring him in the face. He couldn't deny the facts, no matter how much he wanted to. Finally, he muttered, I didn't know it was this bad," but the words felt hollow. He had chosen silence, and now he had to face the consequences of inaction. The MIL's expression changed rapidly, from feigned innocence to shock, then to frustration. For the first time, she realized her control was slipping away. Her arrogant facade began to crack as she understood that her manipulations were now exposed to the family. Every cruel word she had uttered, every attempt to undermine my daughter was laid bare. I could see the mix of fear and anger in her eyes. She knew that this confrontation wasn't just about words. It was about reclaiming dignity and proving that her actions would no longer be tolerated. My daughter, though nervous, stood tall, her voice steady. For the first time in months, she didn't feel small or powerless. As the meeting ended, the atmosphere was heavy, charged with tension and the weight of long overdue justice. My daughter's courage had sparked something powerful. Truth, evidence, and unity had cornered the MIL, and although the battle was far from over, the first blow had been struck. We left the meeting knowing that the MIL would not go quietly, but we were prepared. Our next steps would be decisive, and this confrontation was only the beginning of reclaiming peace and respect for my daughter. The story is just heating up. Next, we'll reveal the MIL's desperate attempt to fight back, and it will shock you. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to see the drama unfold. After the first confrontation, we thought we had shaken my daughter's mill, but her pride and arrogance would not let her stay quiet. Within days, she began plotting her counterattack. She whispered lies to my brother, trying to twist the story and manipulate him into questioning my daughter's character. "She's exaggerating, you know," she said, her voice sweet but venomous. "Maybe she's just being dramatic." My brother hesitated, unsure of whom to believe. For months, his silence had enabled her cruelty, and now he faced the consequences of his inaction. I knew she was testing us, trying to create confusion and fear, but we were prepared. Every lie she whispered, every subtle manipulation had already been documented. We had proof ready to counter every single claim. One evening, she tried to confront my daughter directly, hoping intimidation would silence her. "You think you can ruin my family's reputation?" she hissed, her eyes blazing. But my daughter, who had grown stronger with every step we had taken, stood her ground. She calmly presented her evidence again, point by point. The confidence in her voice surprised even me. I could see the shock ripple through the mill. She had expected tears, fear, and submission, but instead she faced composure, clarity, and undeniable proof. Every attempt to twist the story crumbled under the weight of truth. Even my brother, who had wavered, began to realize the magnitude of the manipulation he had unknowingly supported. The household atmosphere shifted dramatically. The mill, frustrated and cornered, tried to lash out in small ways, quiet sabotage, subtle accusations, and attempts to isolate my daughter. But now her power was broken. With our evidence, we could preempt every move, respond calmly, and protect my daughter from further harm. For the first time in months, my daughter felt a sense of empowerment. She was no longer the scared young woman being silenced and manipulated. With my niece by her side and me guiding the strategy, she realized that courage, unity, and evidence could overcome even the most controlling person. We knew this confrontation wasn't the end, it was the turning point. The Mills' desperate attempts to regain control only proved how powerless she had become against the truth. And in that moment, we understood something vital. Fear is powerful, but truth and courage are unstoppable. The battle wasn't over, but the tides had turned. We had faced the Mills' wrath and survived, and now we were stronger, more prepared, and united than ever. The next step would change everything, an unexpected twist that no one in the family could have predicted. The story is far from over. Next, we'll reveal a shocking twist that leaves everyone speechless. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow this intense family drama. Just when we thought we had gained control, a shocking revelation turned everything upside down. Late one evening, while reviewing our evidence and planning the next steps, my daughter nervously confessed something that made my blood run cold. "Mom, I think my brother, he's been helping her," she whispered, her voice trembling. I froze. Could it be true? My own brother, the one who had promised to protect my daughter, had been quietly aiding his wife's schemes? It was hard to believe, but the patterns suddenly made sense. His subtle excuses, his hesitant responses during our confrontations, they weren't just fear or confusion, they were complicity. We decided to investigate carefully before confronting him. By reviewing messages, overheard conversations, and his unexplained actions, the truth became undeniable. My brother had indeed been secretly assisting his wife, covering up incidents and undermining my daughter behind the scenes. The betrayal stung more than any insult or manipulation we had faced from the MIL. That night, I confronted him privately. "Why?" I asked, calmly but firmly. "Why would you side with someone hurting your own niece?" He lowered his eyes, unable to meet mine. His voice was barely audible as he confessed, "I was scared. I didn't want to fight her, and I didn't think I could stop her. I thought staying quiet was safer." I felt a mix of anger and pity. His fear had caused months of pain for my daughter, yet the admission showed a glimmer of conscience. I told him, "It's not too late. You can make this right. Support her now or stay silent forever, but you cannot undo the damage by lying." To my relief, he agreed. For the first time, he promised to stand with my daughter and niece, to confront the MIL with us, and to take responsibility for his part in this chaos. The tide had shifted. What had seemed like a hopeless situation now had a new force on our side. With my brother's reluctant support, we now had full clarity and strength. The MIL, who had believed she could manipulate everyone around her, would soon discover that the truth was unstoppable. Our strategy became even stronger, our unity unbreakable. That night, we sat together planning the next move. The battle wasn't over, but for the first time, we felt the momentum was in our favor. The MIL's control was slipping, and justice was closer than ever. My daughter's confidence had grown, my niece's courage was unwavering, and even my brother had begun to understand the importance of standing up for what was right. Sometimes the biggest surprises come from the people closest to us, but they can also be the key to victory, and in this case, the unexpected twist had given us the edge we desperately needed. The drama is reaching its peak. Next, we'll reveal the ultimate justice and the moment that leaves everyone stunned. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to witness the shocking turn of events. The day we had been waiting for finally arrived. With the evidence compiled, our unexpected ally on our side, and my brother now reluctantly supporting my daughter, we were ready to confront the MIL in a way that would leave no room for manipulation. The atmosphere in the house was tense, charged with anticipation. Everyone sensed that something monumental was about to happen. We called for a family gathering, making sure all key members were present. I kept my tone calm, as if it were a routine discussion, but inside I was prepared for the storm. One by one, we presented the evidence, messages, recordings, and written accounts detailing the years of subtle cruelty and manipulation. My daughter spoke with confidence and composure, her voice steady, recounting incidents that had left her anxious and fearful. My niece added her testimony, and finally, my brother admitted his prior complicity. The MIL, who had once thrived on control and intimidation, froze. She tried to deflect, to twist the narrative, but every attempt was met with undeniable proof. The family watched in shock as her lies crumbled before their eyes. For the first time, she could not manipulate anyone. The weight of truth was overwhelming. I could see the transformation in my daughter's demeanor. The fear that had once clouded her every word was gone, replaced by quiet strength. The MIL's attempts to intimidate or belittle her failed completely. For once, she was in control of her own story, standing tall and proud. My brother, who had struggled with guilt and fear, now spoke up firmly. He acknowledged his mistakes, admitted his silence had contributed to the suffering, and pledged to support my daughter fully. It was a moment of accountability, a rare sight that shifted the dynamic completely. The extended family, who had been passive observers until now, could no longer ignore the truth. The MIL's reputation and influence crumbled as everyone recognized the courage, unity, and undeniable evidence we had brought forward. Her control was gone, replaced by the authority of truth. It wasn't just about exposing her cruelty, it was about reclaiming dignity and justice for my daughter. And in that moment, we realized that courage, documentation, and unity could overpower even the most controlling individuals. As the confrontation ended, the MIL retreated into silence, her attempts to manipulate shattered. My daughter, my niece, and even my brother emerged stronger, united, and victorious. Justice had been served, not through anger or revenge, but through truth, preparation, and unwavering courage. This turning point marked a new chapter in our lives. The fear and manipulation that had ruled the household for so long were gone, replaced by respect, understanding, and family solidarity. The story reaches its emotional conclusion in Next, where healing and closure bring peace to the family. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to witness the heartfelt ending. After the storm of confrontation and revelations, a calm settled over the household. The MIL, once domineering and cruel, had been exposed for what she truly was. The fear she had instilled in my daughter and others had vanished, replaced by a sense of relief and empowerment. But the journey wasn't just about exposing cruelty. It was about healing, rebuilding trust, and reclaiming peace. My daughter, who had endured months of emotional manipulation, now stood tall. The transformation was remarkable. No longer timid or hesitant, she walked with confidence, her voice clear and firm whenever she spoke. She had learned a powerful lesson. Courage, paired with truth, can overcome even the most controlling and toxic individuals. My brother, too, underwent a quiet but significant change. He realized that silence is never a neutral stance when someone you love is being hurt. He began actively supporting my daughter, taking responsibility for his previous inaction and working to rebuild trust. Watching him step up was bittersweet. It reminded us all how fear can cloud judgment, but also that it's never too late to choose the right path. Family gatherings became a time for rebuilding rather than tension. Conversations that once carried hidden threats or passive-aggressive remarks now focused on support, understanding, and empathy. My niece, who had bravely stood by my daughter, became a symbol of courage and loyalty. Together, we strengthened our bonds, proving that unity can triumph over even the most toxic relationships. I also noticed a profound change in my daughter's demeanor beyond the family dynamics. She began pursuing her passions, reconnecting with friends she had distanced herself from, and rebuilding her sense of self-worth. The emotional chains that had held her back were finally broken. Every small victory, every smile, every confident decision was a reminder of how far she had come. We also realized that this experience had given us invaluable lessons. Silence can enable abuse. Fear can cloud judgment, but evidence, courage, and unity are tools that can restore justice. More importantly, we understood that healing is a process. It takes time, patience, and constant support. But with determination, even the deepest wounds can begin to mend. In the end, the whisper that had shaken me months ago, "Mom, my MIL said you deserved this," was transformed. It became a symbol of resilience, of standing up for the truth, and of reclaiming power over one's life. What began as fear ended in empowerment, justice, and healing. Our family was no longer divided by manipulation and fear. Instead, we were united by courage, truth, and love, a testament to the strength that comes from facing adversity together. This is the emotional conclusion. If you believe in standing up for your loved ones and the power of truth, like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more real-life family dramas and inspirational stories.